Yo guys, sorry, you already know that today I'm going to bring you guys a video of me talking about the anime from spring 2023. I like to do a little wrap up at the end of every anime season, and I'm probably a couple weeks late, but it's all good. There was so much in spring 2023. So here's a video talking about everything that I watched, tried to watch, all that sort of stuff. This was a very interesting season for me. There was a lot of anime that I tried to commit myself to watching, and I didn't really follow through with everything, and that's just kind of a mixture of I tried to commit myself to a lot. There was also games that I was playing. I was sort of running low on free time, and I sort of actually hit a bit of like burnout towards like a couple weeks into the season. I was like, man, I was actually starting to question, like, do I even like anime anymore? So like, and I took like a couple weeks a break, but then when you're falling behind on like 16 different shows, you can't really catch up on all of them. So yeah, to nobody's surprise, I did not finish everything. There's actually a couple things I'm going to talk about that I'm a couple episodes away from finishing, though I'm pretty confident in my opinions right now that I don't think the last couple episodes of any of these shows is going to change my opinion on any of them drastically. And I will be very straightforward about all the ones that I finished, ones that I have not, and ones that I, don't plan on finishing. I had to be a little bit stricter because if something wasn't holding my attention, I had like 10 other things to watch, I just couldn't give it a place to continue watching. So there are a couple things that I dropped this season that are not bad, but I don't know. I'll try to keep making excuses for them as I get there. But yeah, I'm just going to sort of run through all the shows that I watched. I'm going to do a general like lower to higher order. I'm not like, this isn't like a ranking. But they are going to be sectioned off just in like, these are the bad ones, these are the okay ones, and these are like the best of the season type deal. And it's just going to be me, saying my thoughts on a bunch of random stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I do one of these every single anime season. So, make sure to subscribe if you are interested in catching up on what I've been up to every season, and I always make a video saying what I'm going to watch, and I kind of stick to that and sometimes add more on top of it. We shall see. But yeah, alright, before I jump into all of the spring anime, I did want to touch on one of the winter anime that I said that I didn't get around to watching, which was the second season of Tokyo Revengers. I did actually get around to watching that. I think I might actually have 3 more episodes of that to go. That is it's a banger of an opening, by the way. I just gotta say, it might be my favorite opening of the year. There's a lot of really good openings from this anime season specifically. But yeah, Tokyo Revengers is pretty good. I think I hate the main character a lot actually. I mean, I don't know. I've gone on a roller coaster with that series. I've like gone from hating it to loving it to being like, meh about it. To the point where now it's just like, I'm kind of along for the ride, but I don't even know why at this point. It's not bad, but it is something. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into the spring season. We're going to start with just like the absolute trash, and there are 3 series that I would put into the absolute trash tier, I guess, if you would call it that. The first one is Kizuna no Alel, which I've heard other people also say about how terrible this is. I watched this because it was Wit Studio. I did not even read the synopsis. I had no idea what I was actually watching until I clicked on the episode, and I did not realize that I clicked on a VTuber school anime, which, I mean, hey, I don't really care about that. If it's going to have good characters and it's going to be interesting, then it's all fine and dandy. The problem is, like, the characters were okay. There wasn't anything to, like, latch onto, but the like VTubing stuff was just like, it wasn't very exciting. So like there's like a performance of like the main character doing like a song or whatever, and like the movement is like very stiff because that's just kind of how VTubers are. I'm not really like into the VTuber stuff. I don't really know like what's impressive versus what's not. But there just wasn't that much like motion. And then I'm pretty sure that was just like the ending song. So like when the episode ended, it just like played that song again. And then in like the second episode, there was like another character that did like the same song, and the motions were not that different, but apparently one's was like way more impressive than the others. I have no idea. There was just a lot of stiff VTube stuff, and to like the same song over and over again. The world was like meh, it was just at like a school. I feel like this would have almost worked better as just like an idol school type thing, but that's not what it was. And apparently the show got even worse after that. So I dropped it after 2 episodes. it's unfortunate. I think this is the first like Wit Studio show that I can say that I did not like and did not finish. But I guess there's always going to be a first for everything. The other one that is absolute trash here, I did not even bother giving it more than one episode, is Opus Colors, which I was actually kind of sad about. Opus Colors, I haven't heard anybody else bring up. It is, it had good character designs, at least like character designs that I thought that I could get behind, but that wasn't really the problem. Opus Colors is set in a world that, something about, they create like perception art, which is kind of just like this sort of art form that you're like, think of it like a virtual reality type thing, but you don't have any like headsets or anything. I don't think there actually might have been glasses. I don't remember. But there's like there ends up being like a whole museum. The whole world becomes like so enthralled in this craze. But it's like art that's sort of like all around you, like 360. It's hard to describe. It's a pretty cool concept. The problem is the setup and like execution of it. Of course, it starts off showing these like group of kids or whatever. And then, like, 10 years later, they're going to a school that's, like, dedicated to this art that was just discovered, like, 10 years ago. So within, like, 10 years or whatever, it, like, gets completely taken over the world. Which, I mean, whatever, anime logic, I guess. But then, in that time, they also have, like, this format where it's just like, oh, you have one person that, like, makes the art and one person that, like, gives the ideas or something like that. I forget. But they're supposed to be, like, it's fully set up to be this, like, partnership between two roles. And then they go to a school where those two roles are separated from each other and hate each other, and that's just how it is. And I don't know if it ever gets explained. That was just such a stupid idea in the first place, because it just doesn't make sense in concept. If you're going to a school and you're gonna have to collaborate with somebody, then you shouldn't be separated and like be hating each other. It just doesn't make any sense. And then the characters were like super weird. So like I mentioned at the start, there was like 3 kids or whatever that like got together, and then flash forward to high school, and one of them is just like not, like they run into each other, and one of them is just like distant and like not talking or whatever. And I actually rolled my eyes. There was like one line that the main character was just like, are you not speaking to me because of the accident? And I was like, the way that it was like said, it was so cliche, it was so terrible. And I was like, I cannot stomach this series. This is just going to be absolute trash. So I did not keep up with it. I have not heard anybody speak highly of it, so I have I'm pretty sure that my call was correct, that I was good to drop it after one episode, because I haven't heard anybody speak highly about it. So yeah, and the last one that I'm gonna put as sort of trash here, but sort of not, because this one pains my soul, and that's Blue Orchestra. Blue Orchestra is an anime that's dedicated to or about a guy that's like was a violin prodigy growing up. But then sort of drifted away from it because his dad was like a scumbag, but also a famous like violin player, so he didn't want to like play violin. There was a lot of like family drama stuff that was really, really cool. I think Blue Orchestra had probably like one of the best episode 2s like of all time. Episode 1 was like good. Episode 2 was fantastic. The 2 like main characters that they introduced, you got some backstory, you got some like personality. It was great. And then after that, in episode, maybe I actually watched 4 episodes, because I feel like it was episode 3 and episode 4, they sort of started to lose their personalities. Their personalities just became very flat. There was some very questionable animation choices, including a lot of CG that just looked so bad. I'm not usually one to pick on like CG and be like, oh, this is bad. Like I can stomach a lot of weird animation. I don't really care. But I couldn't really focus on anything other than just like the bad CG. I just didn't like it. I don't know. Maybe it's not bad by other people's standards, but it was just so distracting. And then there was other animation things that seemed like they were either just running out of time, or I don't know what was happening, but it was not very good. Not to mention that they started to just use a lot of like the same music and like same songs. So again, if you're going to have an anime that's just like very focused on music, you need to have song variety, and this did not have it. So it was very sad. Blue Orchestra was shaping up to be one of my favorite anime of the season, and it very, very quickly nosedived into something that I just could not find a reason to continue on. So yeah, those are the ones that I dropped because they were bad. There's 2 that I dropped because I think I'm just sort of moving away from being like super into just like only action. And so the 2 that I did not continue on, this is the season. I'll just come right out and say it. This is the season of Demon Slayer that I just decided that it's not worth continuing on. I don't care if it's like the most popular thing and everybody's keeping up with it. I was keeping up with it because I liked the first season. I liked some of the characters, but then it just went nowhere. And then it's action for the sake of action. It kind of yada yada through anything like character related. You know, and the first couple episodes of the Swordsmith Village arc were just very silly. It was introducing new characters that I didn't care about. And I was like, this is just going to build up to another like you know, action thing with a bunch of characters I don't care about, and it's going to be season 2 all over again, where it's like fine but not amazing. And I just don't need that. If I'm going to be watching something, I need it to give me the promise of being amazing. And I can't settle for just fine. Though I will give the first episode, I was just like reminded just how incredible the animation for Demon Slayer is. Like episode 1 was just incredible, and I'm sure there was some sort of fight. I don't know. I haven't really heard people talk about it. Demon Slayer. I'm just not in those circles, but I'm sure, you know, the animation is still top notch. But yeah, so I kind of just stopped with that. The other sort of big one that I just didn't finish off was Hell's Paradise. Hell's Paradise, I made it like 6 or 7 episodes. And this was just the point where I decided, I was like, I need to finish some series and not finish others. And Hell's Paradise just didn't make the cut because it's very action heavy. The characters are fine, but none of them really speak to me in any way. And I feel like the world is offering a lot of questions with not a lot of great answers that I care about right now. I think it just needs to find what exactly it is, because I don't really get like what it's trying to tell yet. If I wasn't watching like 15 other shows, then I would have continued on with it. But I just didn't see an immediate payoff for anything that was happening, so I just decided to not. Maybe this is a series that if it gets like season 2s or whatever in the future, maybe I'll pick back up, or if I hear like that it gets a lot different or a lot crazier. You know, it has potential, it has good action, the characters aren't bad, but just none that I like super gravitated to. And the fact that I sort of shied away, or I'm sort of starting to get away from just like action series, like shonen action. I feel like it's sort of played out for me once you watch so many anime. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'll change my tune, but it just wasn't hitting it for me. Okay, let's talk about the sort of like middling ones. There's actually a lot of, oh, you know what? This is one that I actually meant to bring up before, because I didn't actually end up watching it. This is going to be one of those, like, same thing as Tokyo Revengers last season, where I had set out to watch The Ancient Magus Bride Season 2 by starting with Season 1. I made it like 6 episodes through Season 1, and then it just sort of got set to the side while I, you know, continued with the series that I knew were actually going to, like, end in the season. Like the 12 episode ones, the 13 episode ones. And Ancient Magus Bride was just like, oh, I have like 18 more episodes to get through Season 1, and then I can watch Season 2. And that felt a little overwhelming for me, so I just kind of set it off to the side. But I do plan on watching it, because I do like the first 6 episodes. I think it's pretty good. And I would like to see what more there is to offer with the show. So that's my sort of caveat of I didn't drop it. I am going to continue with it. But I've only seen 6 episodes of the first season, so I can't really speak on the quality of the Season 2 that aired in the, you know, spring 2023 anime season that we were talking about today. But in this little section, I actually have a couple of sequels that I think are just good, and I don't have a ton to say about. The first one being Dr. Stone, New World. It is very good. Dr. Stone's just a fun time. I really like Dr. Stone, and I feel like, I mean, it has a good balance of being serious and silly, but I feel like, you know, it leans on some of its, like, fun side, especially early on. You know, I feel like Season 2 was good, but also really just, like, the progression from, like, where you start to where you end in Season 2, like, on the technology level was kind of crazy. And I feel like maybe I've just accepted that it's sort of crazy, but I don't know. I just felt like it was a fun time. I really liked Dr. Stone New World. This is one that I'm actually a few episodes away. I think I have 3 more episodes to watch, maybe even 4. So I don't have like a full, you know, closure of like the villain and like the conflict that's happening. But I mean, there was something that happened that I was absolutely not expecting. So, I mean, it does get crazy, but it is still a fun time. The other sequel, well, actually, one of the other sequels that's just a fun time. I didn't even say that I was going to watch it, but I did end up start watching the Ranking of Kings Treasure Chest of Courage, which is just like an OVA of just like random events that happened throughout the first season, like the timeline of the first season, but it's just stuff that was just like extra stuff. I don't know if it's stuff from the manga that was just like put in, or if it's, you know, original creation, but it just mostly focuses on just random adventures that like Oji went on, or like some of the side characters, and it's just like, because you know that there's no stakes, because they can't have anything that affects the plot of like the overall like first season. There's like low stakes, but it just makes it to be like a fun time. And I really like the characters of Ranking of Kings, so just watching them do shenanigans was a lot of fun. And then the last sequel that I'm going to bring up for this section of the video is Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury Season 2. This was a series that I liked. I did not know how it was going to go into Season 2, and I'm very happy to say that Season 2 I think is even better. I think it has made the show what I imagine, like, Gundam to be. It got away from, like, just the school of it all. Like, it's still there, but it's gone a lot more, I want to say global, but even further beyond that with its politics and all that sort of stuff. I'd be lying if I said that I followed, like, every single thing that was happening and every, like, character that's doing, like, every little thing. And this is another one that I think I'm, like, 2 or 3 episodes away from finishing, but it has been a lot more fun, a lot more wild of a ride. Definitely had some twists that I was not expecting, and it just feels very, not, like real, like, gritty, like, I don't know, it doesn't feel as, like, I don't want to say childlike, but, when it's focused at the school, it's just, like, a little bit more petty, a little bit more small scale. Things are more large scale, there are crazy things happening. If you have any interest in mechs, Gundam, anything like that, I've never seen any other Gundam. This is my first one, and Witch from Mercury Season 2 is definitely shaping up to be a really, really good one from what I can tell. I really, really like it, especially as somebody that liked but didn't love the first season. I think the second season is really, really good. Alright, so we're going to move away from the sequels. So I have 2 anime that are, like, just started airing in, or just aired in the spring season, that I don't think are amazing, but I do think are good. The first one being Mashle, Magic and Muscles. This was one that I had heard about because I feel like the manga was pretty big, and I guess I just assumed that it would be funnier, so that's why I don't think it's, like, amazing, but it has good action. The characters are silly and goofy and likable, but I'm not, like, super drawn to any of them. MASH is funny. Like, some of the jokes land, but a lot of the jokes don't, so it's very hit and miss. That's kind of how comedy anime is. But they're definitely getting what they're going for, and it is a fun time. There's nothing like too high stakes. It's not one that you need to take all that seriously, but it's just a fun time, and sometimes it's all you need. So that's one that I think I'm also like 2 or 3 episodes away from finishing, but I definitely plan on finishing that, and I expect it to continue to be a fun time. And then the other one that I'm gonna put in the, like, it's so close to being amazing. But let's go ahead and talk about Heavenly Delusion, also known as Tengoku Daimyako, or Damakyo. I'm not entirely sure what it's more commonly advertised as. It has all the makings of being like an anime of the year, but it has a couple of things that are holding it back. So the things that are in its favor are that it's a very unique premise. It has great world building, has a lot of mysteries. Some of the problems is that, actually, you know what? No, this is one where I'm thankful for, like, online, like chat stuff and, like, reactions, because I feel like I wasn't able to connect the dots of some of the mysteries that, like, were answered. There are definitely still some that aren't, but there were a lot that were answered that kind of flew over my head. But it's not an anime that just, like, holds your hand. It leaves a lot of clues on screen. You can sort of piece some things together yourself. I can't think of anything else super like it, so it does have that going for it. The characters are good, but here's my thing, and I just need to know, has anybody checked on the creator's sister? Has anybody checked to see if they're okay, if they have a sister? I'm gonna assume that the creator's a dude. I don't know that for sure, but there's a lot of sister complex stuff going on between the main character, the 2 main characters, one of them being in love with, or like, liking the other one. I don't know about being in love, and then, like, calling her Nechan as for, like, sister, just because he wants to, and no other reason. They're not actually siblings or anything like that. And then you have another character who's, like, so lusting over his own sister, and then he becomes his sister, and it's a whole uncomfortable mess. And yeah, I just need to know, has anybody checked on the creator's sister? Because I would honestly be fearful for them. And I think without that stuff, there would have been a lot. It would have let the rest of the series shine more, but I keep getting pulled back because they're like, oh, we need to make main boy be horny for this girl that he calls sister that he's traveling with. Haha, isn't this great? Isn't this funny? And I'm like, no, like, can we, focus on, like, the actual stuff that's happening? Like, I don't know. I don't have any problem with relationships, whatever, in that sort of stuff, but, like, it just felt like it wasn't adding on to the story, and it felt like it was detracting from the story while they could like do stuff like that, especially when it just gets uncomfortable for all parties involved. I think it doesn't seem like it's super well appreciated, so it's I don't know, it just felt very uncomfortable to watch. But yeah, it's still definitely worth a watch if you can sort of get over that. But without that, I think it would be one of the anime of the season. But because it has some of those things holding it back, I'm just like, I don't know. I find it hard to recommend, but it is. I find it hard to recommend, but I do recommend it. But just know that there's some caveats going in. But it is one that I'm sure you will hear people talking about, potentially in anime award season as like an underrated one that people are sleeping on. It's good. And now I think it's time to move on to the big heavy hitters. Hopefully I didn't skip over any of the ones. But I have 5 that I would say are definitely in contention for anime of the season. Actually, one that's not, but I feel like is right on that line for me. And actually very similar to Heavenly Delusion, where it's good, but it has a couple of drawbacks. And that's Oshi no Ko. Oshi no Ko is, I'm sure you've heard about it. Everybody's been raving about it. It's definitely going to be one of those ones that is talked up a lot when it comes to anime award season. And I remember reading the synopsis when I did my video and saying that it did not sound appealing to me and that I would not like it. But I was pushed to watch it by comments, by friends, and I watched it, and I was right. For the first hour and a half episode, I did not like this show. The main character is obsessed with this 16-year-old, idol, to the point where it sounds like he'd be cool with marrying her. There's a lot of very creepy undertones I don't like. But after the first episode, after that hour and a half, all of a sudden, that episode ends, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're setting up something good. The beginning of the second episode was just like, but the more it goes, the better it gets. And once I get over just the sort of, idol culture thing that sort of weirds me out a little bit just because of how obsessive, they get, especially when one of those obsessive idol whatever is the main character that you're supposed to root for. That sort of draws me out of it, but everything around that is really, really good. It, explores a lot of stuff in, like, entertainment industry, all sorts, like, actors. Some of the side characters are fantastic. Even the main character is, like, fine after the first couple episodes, but, like, the side characters are really where it shines. This, also, banger of an opening. Definitely, maybe my opening of the whole year. It's gonna be hard to beat. It is so good. Yeah, there's not much that I can say about it without, like, spoiling everything, or that you haven't heard before, but it's definitely worth watching. I definitely think the first couple episodes are its weakest point, but it gets stronger as it goes on, and the side characters are fantastic, and there's just a lot to love. Wow, there's a lot to love about a lot of the other shows. So I'm going to talk about the 2 sequels. One, we're just going to go with the other heavy hitter that everybody is, saying is amazing, which is the continuation of Vinland Saga Season 2. So this is a continuation of the Season 2 that started in winter. I had to think of my seasons there. And I mean, it's the second half of Season 2, I think, has gotten even better. I mean, the first half was really good. Second half is crazy. I'm actually still a couple episodes away from finishing it, but oh boy, it is something. Like, that's all I can say. It is something. It is getting intense. There's a lot of crazy character stuff. There's some more action happening. Vinland Saga is Vinland Saga. I mean, if you're not on board by now, what are you doing? What are you doing? So, I'm not bringing it up here because I don't think it's, like, the best of the year. I'm bringing it up here because this is one that you expect everybody to talk about. Because the last 3 that I want to talk about are, I mean, I don't know what everybody's thoughts are. So let's talk about the final sequel that I'm going to talk about for today. That's Birdie Wing Golf Girls Story Season 2. Hear me out. The show's kind of amazing, alright? Like, I remember I watched the first season, and I was like, oh, this is just going to be, like, cute girls doing cute things, whatever. I like sports anime, sure, I'll give it a shot. Then, it follows more like underground golf. The main character is more like, break the rules type of girl. But the first season kind of ends with like, oh, now these 2 girls are just going to go play golf school in Japan. And I'm like, okay, so Season 2 is just going to be like generic golf anime. They're all happy-go-lucky now, right? No, I was wrong. Like, it's so much more than that. Yes, it is that, but also it's not, because you get twists about the girls' origins, parents, where they're from, memories like lost, restored. They don't stay in one spot the whole time. It ramps up like crazy, and the golf is just fun. The golf is just fun. It's like mostly based in reality, but like there's a couple of, you know, funny like power up type things. A lot of it's more metaphorical, but some of it is like kind of literal. I think I have like 2 more episodes of it actually, but there's like one girl that was recently introduced that she literally just like runs at the golf ball and then like stops and like swings. I love it. It's fantastic. It's one of those that it teeters that line of being ridiculous while being just incredible at the same time. The characters are so good. I'm not joking when I say that I don't know that Blue Lock is the best sports anime to come out this year. Like I honestly think that Birdie Wing is up there, and I'm gonna have a tough time deciding which one is better, because that's how strongly I feel about how good this anime is. I don't know if that's a crazy take or not, but I'm telling you, if you like sports anime, if anything about this has seemed interesting to you before, please check it out. It's so good. Speaking of so good, let's talk about my personal 2 heavy hitters of the season. And probably in the running for anime of the year, but I don't know how strong it'll stay that way. So the 2 that I want to talk about are, I'm actually going to talk about both of them at the same time, are Insomniacs After School and Skip and Loafer. I have found myself really craving and enjoying a good romance story, and I think Insomniacs After School really does that one well. Skip and Loafer didn't really nail the whole romance aspect because they don't really do anything. Like the main you can assume to be a future couple didn't really do that. I think Skip and Loafer shines with its side characters, and I feel like the character interactions between everybody just feel very real. Like it obviously is an anime, but there's just a level of realness to every conversation that is had, every character's reaction, the backstories and personalities behind every character that you meet, how there's more than meets the eye to a lot of them. You know, it explores a lot of those topics, and I really just think that Skip and Loafer is one of the best anime to do that. I think Skip and Loafer is probably my favorite anime of the season and maybe of the year. We're going to see how that holds as the year goes by. I do think Skip and Loafer didn't quite nail the ending just because the main guy, he started to make some character development, some growth, but I feel like he could have done more. Skip and Loafer also introduces one of my least favorite characters of all time. So there's that. And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the ending could have been nailed a little bit better. Insomniacs After School has not the opposite problem, but like actually like incredibly nailed the ending. I feel like I wasn't super on board the 2 together like for like probably half the season, but I feel like the more that they spent time with each other, they're both insomniacs and have trouble sleeping, and like they can support each other, and it just felt so wholesome. And the main guy, I'm so bad at remembering names, that's why I just refer to him like this. Like some of it can be partially like spoilers, but partially is just because like I don't remember. When you watch like 15 different anime, it's hard to remember everybody's name. But the main guy, you know, they get sort of involved in oh my gosh, like the space club, astronomy, there you go. And he like it actually is also just like it's not really focused on, it is focused on, but just sort of his growth into just, you know, picking up a hobby that he just starts to love, and you can sort of feel that joy that he gets out of it. I don't know. I feel like that part of it isn't super focused on, but I really appreciated. There's just a lot of little things that the show does right. It doesn't really. It does have side characters, but I don't really care about any of the side characters. This is like I like the 2 main people, whereas like Skip and Loafer is like I love the main character. The main guy is like fine, and then the side characters are great. So that's why I kind of put these 2 sort of together. It just really give me that like nice cozy vibe, even though it's not all like fun and games and the whole time. There's actually quite a bit of the opposite of that. But if any of this sort of like slice of life, like lower key type anime, you know, call to you, I absolutely recommend those 2. They are the highlights of the season for me. So, oh boy, I have talked for almost 30 minutes about anime. That is better than I thought. There is a tendency that I have to ramble on and on and on, and I could have seen myself talking for like an hour, so thankfully I didn't do that. But let me know what your thoughts are on some of the anime that I touched on today. What did you watch? What did you like? What did you not like? What did I miss out on that maybe I should have watched? I'm sure there's a couple, but I do feel like I covered most of the bases of what came out this season. But yeah, let me know any things that I missed. Any sleepers, hidden gems. I probably won't get around to them, but my summer load is definitely lighter. I made sure not to commit myself to like 15 different anime. I do need to finish a couple of these, and then next season, hopefully not as many. I can only hope that there isn't too many, bangers that come out. Let me just focus on the ones that I'm going to watch and let it be that, because this was a crazy, crazy season. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, let me know. Like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Like I said, I do one of these every anime season, as well as I do a video talking about what I'm going to watch, so that way you can be prepared as to what I'm going to talk about, and you can also have input on if you want me to watch something. The best way to do it is in that video where I'm talking about upcoming anime. That way you can just leave it there and be like, hey, you should also watch this. And if I have room for it, or if basically, if I get a comment saying, hey, you should watch this, there's a solid chance that I'll at least check it out and see if it's for me. But yeah, that is everything here. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If so, let me know, but I'll see y'all on the next time. So till then, peace out.